Yabba dabba do. Let's go ahead and dive into the How We Feel app, which is a tool that I use to build my emotional intelligence and I want to share with you. It's a tool that we can use to understand, track, and identify the patterns in our emotions. Now I know that you're busy and tight for time, so go ahead and use the timestamps to jump to the chapters that are most relevant to you. In the demo, I'm going to show you what I consider the bread and butter of the app, the check-in and the analytics. So let's go ahead and dive on in. So first thing that you're going to see is the check-in, and there's the little plus button right in the middle. This will take us to our 4-quadrant model of high energy, low energy, unpleasant and pleasant emotions. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the high energy pleasant because I definitely have some of that in me. So what do we got in here? Okay, engaged, motivated, focused. Yeah, feeling focused, but I am going up to excited, enthusiastic about something in the future because I want to show you this app and I want to show this to you. So I'm going to go ahead, click on that arrow taking us forward. But before I make a note in here, there's a wonderful function up in the top right. You can see that emotion and that little yellow sunburst. But here it allows us to actually add a second emotion if we're feeling multiple emotions at the same time. So putting in excited and nervous because I definitely want to make sure I can make this video as relevant and clear as possible for you as I can. So let me make a note in here. Yeah, fantastic. Now you can see that there is the option to have a voice note or to add a picture in this, but I am feeling content just with the note. So then going on to the next stage here, there's a couple other pieces of data that we can enter. So working is what I'm doing right now. Are you with anybody? So just with myself here, and then filming this video, and then I'm at work. So then on to the last one. So you can see here, it gives us the option to do the time and the day. So this is right now at the present time, Friday at 12:36. And then also if you want to add in different data like sleep and exercise, you can do that as well. But I'm gonna go ahead and save that, and then you can see this is the pattern of emotions that I've had so far. So that's the check-in. Excellent, so let's go on to the analytics now. So first you can see that this page, we have an overall check-in breakdown of all the different emotions that I've inputted into the app here. So that's the breakdown of the 4 different quadrants that I had. And then here is all the different emotions that I've inputted. But then you can also see the emotions that you felt most often, which is a fantastic tool to understand our patterns. And then also your mood during the day, mornings, afternoon, evenings, late night, and then also your emotions during the week. But this is one of the different lenses that we can look at it, but one of the ones I find really useful is monthly and weekly as well. And so I'm going to go into the monthly one, and I'm going to go into October because that's a full month that I've done. And again, you can see that full breakdown of all the different emotions that I had in those different quadrants, the 4 different quadrants. But again, here's a fantastic visual of the breakdown of those emotions by day. And again, you can start to see different patterns through different weeks or through different days. Here on this specific month, it doesn't look like I had that much different in different ones, but sometimes you can see weeks with a heck ton of pressure and you can understand that a little bit more. But then again, you can see the emotions that you felt the most often and then dive into those as well. But let me actually scroll up to a function that I also find fantastically useful. So that is diving into one of the specific quadrants of models. So this is high energy, unpleasant emotions. And here it shows you again your breakdown for the whole month, but this is the one that I want to show you. It shows you which emotions that you felt most often, and then we can go into that and figure out, okay, a little bit more about why I'm always feeling that. So let's go into this top one. Lots I want to get done, which makes sense, but also determined at the same time to get that stuff done. Also feeling relaxed and pressure, so an odd mixture having done solid work today, but also could have done more. Wonderful, so that's just a flavor of what the analytics can give us. So that's a small, quick demo of some of the features of the How We Feel app, the check-in and the analytics there, which again, as you can see, I found incredibly useful at understanding what emotions I'm feeling in real time, but then also seeing some of the patterns and being able to deep dive into some specific emotions in there. There are 2 key ways that I find the app helps me improve my emotional intelligence and consequently my emotional well-being. Firstly, the app nudges me towards being aware of my emotions in real time, in a specific moment. And this awareness helps me direct and shift the course of my day. For example, if I'm feeling bored or discouraged or overwhelmed, having identified that emotion, I can then implement a strategy to work with it or release it instead of being consumed by it. Secondly, the app helps me understand my patterns. I can look back over my week or my month or deep dive into a specific emotion and identify my trends. What are the common reasons I feel a specific emotion? Is there ever a typical build or spiral of my emotions in a day or a week? Is there typically a certain time during the week that I feel more unpleasant or pleasant emotions? And what can I learn from that? How can I shift that? These two skills are foundations of emotional intelligence. Knowing our emotions in real time so that we can respond appropriately. And understanding our patterns over a week or a month so that we can make adjustments and shift our course of action. The app isn't 100% perfect. For me, there's one flaw that I thought was worth mentioning. When I'm doing the check-in and I'm on the matrix of emotions, there's times where I'm feeling a specific emotion, but it's not represented on the screen. Now, it's not that big a deal. It happens maybe a fifth of the time. And so what I do in those situations is I just try and identify the emotion that's closest to the one that I'm feeling. And then in the notes section, I'll just make a comment about the emotion that I'm actually feeling. So you probably saw in the demo that I had a lot of good and okay. That's the reason for that, is that even if I'm not specifically feeling just good or okay, it's the closest emotion that I found that I can then input that. It's a small hiccup, and it doesn't take away from the overall experience for me, but I thought it was worth mentioning. Regardless of what tool I'm using to do an emotion check-in, whether it's this app, a different app, the emotion wheel, I find that I have two consistent challenges. So firstly, when I'm in the midst of a hectic workday or a high-intensity emotion, I'm not going to take out my phone and record a specific emotion. I don't have the time for that. And so what this meant is that when I first started tracking my emotions on the How We Feel app, I had a skewed representation of the different emotions I had, putting in more after the high intensity time of feeling accomplished or feeling regret, whatever it was in that specific situation. Thankfully, the app has a solution for this, which is brilliant. When we're doing our emotion checking, we can choose what time that emotion happened at. So as you can see here on the screen, we can put it to the day before, the week before, or a certain time during the day. So my recommendation is that we try and build a habit of having one check-in later on in the evening, later on in the day, so that we can reflect back on our day and just see if we can identify, are there any emotions that we missed or during those high intensity times that we would like to input so that we can have that in our tracking, in our patterns of emotions. Now secondly, we're easily influenced. When we're doing our check-in and all the different emotions come on the screen, it's easy to say, oh, I'm feeling that emotion, I'm feeling that emotion, and I'm feeling that emotion as well. And they might all be relevant, but what I've found best for me is to look at all the different emotions, but then to pause, look inwards, and just ask myself, what am I actually feeling? And then choose the emotion that best represents that, if it's on there, or the closest one, as I mentioned earlier. Hopefully those ideas can help you better track your emotions. There are some other features on the app that I thought were worth mentioning. Now, there's a learning section which has a range of different resources, concepts, strategies to improve our emotional intelligence and better understand our emotions, which I have found very useful. There's also a friends section which allows you to share your different emotions with different people, be that a coach, your friends, a partner, whoever that might be, to deepen that relationship or build in accountability. In the check-in process, there's a handful of other pieces of data that you can input. So there's a weather feature. You can put in the weather and see how that influences your mood. But there's also exercise and sleep in there. And it's in your hands, whatever your preference is. And I'm sure there's some other features on the app that I'm yet to uncover, and I'm looking forward to it. Coaches, just a quick section for you. Now, as I'm sure you gathered throughout the video, I've been finding this tool incredibly useful for myself to identify, track, and understand my emotions and the patterns that come with that. And I encourage my coaches to use it for the exact same reasons, to take that moment to press pause on the busyness of their lives, take that moment to identify what they're feeling so that they can make adjustments, but then also as we're working together on their emotional intelligence, on their emotions, we can then see those trends and patterns over time to work on those, adjust our sails accordingly. And as I'm sure you already know, in those situations where you have that trusted coaching relationship and it makes sense, we can use that friend feature to help them build in accountability and help them be aware of their emotions in real time. So another tool to add to the toolkit, but I'd love to hear what tools and strategies, resources you have to help your coaches build their emotional intelligence. I'm always eager to learn. Wonderful. So if you're already using the app, let me know your experience. Has it been useful for your emotional awareness and helping you build your emotional intelligence? I'd love to hear. And if you haven't yet used the app, then encouraging you to dive into it. And again, let me know how it works for you. Happy doings.